So, welcome everyone. This is a new episode 92 of Rocket Lab Weekly. I must apologize in advance. You're not going to see my beautiful face this episode. My computer has been acting up this whole week, and it looks like it's finally giving up. I cannot get my camera to start working. But instead, Matt promised that he would look extra nice today. So he has a new shirt and super nice hair. He's back from Mexico after he celebrated Cinco de Mayo or something like this. And we have Dave G with us also. And believe it or not, Scotto should also be with us if he can manage with the baby. So how are you guys this week?
Pretty good. No complaints for sure. Markets have been ripping. Yeah.
Oh, it's a good time. Yeah, I appreciate the ability. No audio. People are saying no audio. Well, I hear Vince fine, and
yeah, I hear you guys. So
I hear Dave fine perfectly as well. But yeah, I was able to take a nice break away. Was able to hang out with Tevis, Chris, and we met a Rocket Lab investor actually. And if he wants to name himself in here, he might very well do. He's not very shy, but I don't want to put him out in the public if he doesn't want to be. But it was nice to be able to meet up with him, and it's a true testament to not what I'm doing, but what the team, New Zealand and across the United States and Wallops and everywhere are doing to really put this company forward and do some great, phenomenal stuff. And really looking forward to seeing Scott and congratulating him in person, because I've only just sent a few small messages here and there.
By the way, how beautiful was it that he posted? I just want to show his post. Let me present. So how beautiful was this post that he posted? Payload delivered successfully. Welcome home, little one. And look who answered. Vince is bullish. No, I'm kidding. Sir Peter Beck, 100% mission success. Congratulations. I thought that was like, it's such a new world that we have this connection to company CEOs that we follow, and yeah. But maybe I'm just getting old and sentimental. So
no, I think it's very cool.
It's definitely a reminder. I don't have kids yet, so I plan to hopefully have kids, but it's definitely a reminder that we're investing hopefully for greater than ourselves and our egos and things of the like. So it's always a nice change of pace when you see something like this. It's very lighthearted.
Awesome. So should we speak a bit more and wait for Scotto, or should we just get going and then he just jumps in when?
He said he might be about 5-10 minutes late, so I don't know. We can go ahead if you want, but it's up to you.
How are you doing in the market this week, Vince?
Yeah, Vince, let's hear about what's
my portfolio is so boring because I have these stupid cover calls, so it's like staying in the same place whether the market goes up or down. So it's a pretty bad year for me because of that. I'm losing out on a lot of money. But in January 16 is when they go out, and then life is exciting again.
But you have some bees, so there's that.
Yeah, exactly. I got bees. I lost my virginity. I got stung on my ankle, and 2 days later I couldn't walk and had to call the doctor. So that was very interesting. I had to take some special medicine. So yeah,
I think we have a special guest in the back.
It does seem like it. Let me see. Hello, Scott.
Hey, there he is.
I brought a friend with me today.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay, let me make the one bigger. So cool. Could you introduce us to that? By the way, my camera is not working. That's why you.
Oh, all good.
It's working.
Yeah. This is little Ava. She's born last Saturday, 6 pounds 7 ounces. Healthy little baby girl. So.
Congrats, brother.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So she's a few days old and already on Rocket Lab Weekly. That's pretty good.
Straight to
already
work.
Semi-famous.
I was trying to think of a female version of Peter Beck that you could have potentially named her after, but no, I'm just kidding. Bad joke.
Very cool
going.
seeing him reply to your tweet, though. That was
No
was a nice
kidding.
moment.
Yeah, no kidding. That was great. Yeah. Been a
How's sleep been and everything?
what sleep? I'm running on fumes. It's pretty rough, but wanted to come on today and have some semblance of normalcy. So
There you go.
if I'm a little off today, that's why I'm running on fumes.
I'm just glad you're here, brother.
Let's check your mental acuity. How many launches has Rocket Lab done year to date?
10, 5 in each quarter.
Okay, good. You're good. You're good.
Awesome.
Are you one of these firm believers that Haste has been launching in secret and has not been being counted, as some
That'd be
people have
cool.
been posting on my posts?
No, I haven't seen that yet. No, I think we're due for a Haste launch. I think right away here, but
Yeah,
no,
I
know.
saw some posts about clearing the range for potentially an upcoming launch that wasn't yet confirmed, but yeah, I doubt there's been any secret Haste launches.
No, I think we have one set for the 11th, but time will tell.
That'd be nice. That'd be good.
Cool. Then I think with everyone here, let's start Rocket Lab Weekly and let's see what we had this week. I just wanted to play a little video where the company started to show Frank Kane, because he's someone that we have been.
Did we lose you, Vince?
Oh, wait.
Nope.
He's back.
I'm back. What? There's no sound, I guess.
Some harnessing, all of those things.
Perfect.
Lab, and it allows them to reach our work cells quicker.
So we've taken a panel approach to building spacecraft, which essentially means that we're broken down the spacecraft into smaller parts and we're building and testing it in pieces. We're really the last group that gets to touch the satellite and make sure that everything is working before it goes out the door. So we're doing a lot of the little checks along the way and helping build those up with production. And then at the end, doing the big system level test showing that the whole system works together.
So by having a very high vertical integrated approach, having the best people in the industry and outside the industry getting together, and also being absolutely dedicated every single day, we're not just building spacecraft, we're really redefining the space industry.
Okay, as I said, my computer is acting up. I'm not able to change certain things on this video, but at least we all heard it. And yeah, what do you guys think? This is, I feel, the first public appearance of Frank, and it a little bit explains what he is doing. I feel like it could be a lot more detailed, but we know that he's on vertical integration. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Matt, you're the one with the man crush. You should start.
Well, I do speak rudimentary German, but it's probably like pretty much limited to greetings and asking where the bathroom is. But I think it's pretty interesting what he's been able to at least display in this. I'm just kind of curious, particularly around how deep it goes. Like how many of the assembly lines or building lines is he actually a part of? More specifically, I know you're excited to hear if he's part of the reaction wheel line there, Scott, but I'm curious if he's part of, the Neutron, everything, and how much he's been implemented, because obviously another piece that I'm kind of curious about as well, parking that previous thought, is does this mean that we're still going to hold that Ferrari-like build quality that Rocket Lab has kind of been trying to hold themselves to? Or are they, I don't want to say loosening the collar on that a bit, but also trying to figure out how they can gain pace as well? I'm not exactly so sure how much pace they need to gain on the Electron front, but is it more so around specifically like reaction wheels and other satellite components? I think at the moment, just based on what I've heard, they're able to build sufficiently enough for the Electron side. So anyway, nice to see him, and hopefully we can hear more from him soon.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a nice video. It was funny. I don't know. When Matt was talking about seeing him part of these lines, I was just picturing him like turning a wrench on one of these production lines or something. But yeah, I mean, a lot of, I guess, buzzwords and stuff like that. It all sounds great. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's nice to see his face and see him becoming, one of the faces of Rocket Lab. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. How about you, Scott?
I'm curious about his involvement with Mynaric, because not only are they both German, but also Mynaric is kind of in financial, they've had those financial issues largely due to production issues, which is exactly up Frank's alley. So hopefully he's the guy. I'm sure he's the guy for the job. He seems very, very equipped, and it's cool to see him starting to get in front of cameras a little more. And it's hopefully, I'm a little slow today. My apologies. Hopefully it's like a telling of maybe him doing some more interviews coming up.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see like in an investor day or something like that, him be part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because he's technically a chief, right?
What is his position? Operating officer?
Chief Operating Officer.
Yeah, that's a pretty high one. Maybe he can do a retail interview with certain retail investors at one point, but we see what happens with that one. Cool. So I see already on the comments that people are mentioning that they want something about Neutron, any tangible news, anything. And unfortunately, this week we did get news about Neutron. There was a CNBC interview with Sir Peter Beck when...
Case in point, this very public spat between Elon Musk.
Was there sound just now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. It's just working by itself, but not my camera. Okay. So I just want to show this part because Sir Peter Beck is point blank asked when is Neutron flying. And we're not going to like what he said. I think many of you has already seen this, but let's just play it and then we talk about it.
Musk and President Trump really highlighting how dependent overall the market is on SpaceX.
Yeah, I worry about a lot of things at night, but that's probably not one of them is demand. And, for Electron, our little rocket, we've seen, increased demand over the last couple of years. And we're not just launching, single spacecraft. These are generally entire constellations for customers. And then, of course, you hit on the point with Neutron is there's kind of a pseudo monopoly in that medium class lift right now. So Neutron is aimed to kind of break open that monopoly. So yeah, a lot of demand. And the demand is one thing, but reliably delivering over and over again is equally as important.
So when does Neutron fly?
Well, we're trying to get it on the pad and launch this year, so it's an aggressive timeline, but we're giving it our best shot.
So there you guys heard it. This is not a video from 2024. This is a video from 2025, a few days ago. And this does mean that they are officially delaying the Neutron launch to the end of the year. And even that, he says it's a tough target. Did you guys see this one? And what do you think about this now?
It didn't take me aback that much. I think we've kind of gradually started to get language more like this, like when the last earnings call. And then you start hearing things like we've already heard things like green light schedule, aggressive schedule. And, it didn't sound the most, confidence inspiring. I did tweet about it at the time, but yeah, I think now we should probably be hoping for, by the end of the year. I certainly wouldn't be looking for a launch in like October or even maybe November anymore, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, it was like second half of the year, and I don't think anybody was expecting like July 1st for a launch. I think we've always kind of shared the idea of it being like, hopefully late Q3, but probably Q4 kind of a thing. And this, his kind of sentiment around it definitely has like Q4, probably like November, December kind of energy is what I'm picking up here. So nothing too surprising, like it would have been nice to have one in July or August or whatever. But by this point, we kind of know what to expect. It's a rocket program. And I think they've been all like very transparent throughout the whole thing. It's like, we're aiming for a date, but anything can happen, right? So I'd rather it be late than blown up on the pad, for example, or worse, so.
Here's a question for you guys. Sorry to jump in. I guess we've heard talk about it previously, but what do you, if you have to guess, if there's one thing you think that is kind of delayed the launch from middle of this year towards end of this year, what's your money on?
I was just going to say that I really hope that we find out on the earnings call, because we have seen the hot fire engine test.
But that's different than qualifying the engine.
Exactly. Then I think they have qualified stage 2 of the rocket, if I remember well.
Yeah, I believe so.
So it must be. So if it cannot be stage 2, as you said, it can be the engines. It can be something integration with the stage 1 tanks, or it could be infrastructure not done at the pad, or any combination of these.
It's not water. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a rocket program, and I think that I hear a lot of chatter back and forth, and I think that I'm curious if when people ask this question, if it's more on just curiosity and excitement, or if they actually think about it from a long-term holder's perspective. The way I look at this, and I think Scott put it eloquently about, it's a rocket program, and I'd rather it be done right than done quickly and have a failure. To me, it doesn't matter if it launches, July 1st, 2025, which is already passed, or if it launches February 2nd, 2026. I think that in 10 years time, what we're really going to be caring about is how many satellites and flatelites are up in space, how much have we been able to deliver in terms of constellations, and that we have an increasing cadence. And at this point, hopefully chasing for over 100 launches here, in faster than Electron did it and the Falcon 9. And so hopefully, in 10 years time, we're looking at something like a 20-25 times per annum sort of cadence, right? Just kind of like where we're at with on the precipice of doing with Electron and HASTE. And so to me, when I hear people talking about this, I just want to know more along the lines of its curiosity or what have you. In terms of answering Vince's question, I think it just takes time, and I think maybe the initial December 2024 date was very aggressive. I mean, you think about it, it was March 2021 when they announced it to the public, at least, and Peter ate his hat. And with that, I mean, even if it gets done by the middle of 2025, it would just be over 5 years, which in my opinion, at the cost and size of the company, to be able to deliver a medium launch rocket like that with the amount of capital that they're putting into it, although it has probably crept up above north of 300 million, as stated, they were trying to keep it at, is still very impressive. So I think I have a lot of people being like, can't they just go faster? It's like, well, we have a famous saying, in the oil industry, and I'm sure if many engineering industries or manufacturers have the same sort of mentality. It's like you can have it fast and you can do it expensively, but it'll be poor quality. It could be good quality and you could take your time with it, and it'll be cheap, or you could be cheap and poor quality. I don't know, the combination of all three of those things. And so for me, I would much rather it be high quality, have it be rather cheap, but it won't take so much, or it'll take a little bit more time than it were if you were to kind of make a cheaper product or you wanted it a little bit faster. And so hopefully they're on the number 3 of those and really taking time to focus and making sure everything is really well done. And in 10 years time, I think it's going to be a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. I mean, still though, imagine going back to, 2022. And if I told, the Vince of 2022, yeah, it's going to be mid 2025. Neutron won't have launched. We're going to be hoping for a launch by the end of the year, but not even certain. And yet the stock is at $35 per share. You'd probably say I'm a crazy person or something. So,
yeah. It's crazy how much the company has changed and the sentiment and everything. And I mean, I do feel that we're a bit stretched, but it's still. I mean, the company also has changed so much, because at that time we were very low on cash. We were not sure if we make it to Neutron, and like the business. I feel like the business model has expanded significantly since that time. So yeah, it feels like the good companies. I was just thinking about it the other day, that like you buy a company and you want to hold it for years, and the good companies like become slightly different. Like if you look at like Robinhood recently, like who knew, like the people who were buying at $6, like who knew that they were going to come up with all these products, and this 1% match, and private equity tokens, and yeah, and I feel with like the good companies, the CEOs surprise you with how adaptable and good they are on business planning. Okay, I think Scotto went to take care of the baby. That's a complete valid excuse to leave us here. And yeah, back to the Neutron topic. I mean, if I have to guess, I think that they're being overly cautious on the engine integration and qualification, because it like as we said, we know it's not the water, we know it's not stage 2, and the stage 1 has not been qualified yet. And Sir Peter Beck did explain in our interview that the difference between like a hot fire test and qualifications is that in the qualifications they run through every possible scenario that would come up during the launch. And my guess would be is that they're seeing things where they're not sure, and they're like trying to recreate it maybe in tests. But what do I know? Cool.
Yeah, I think Nikki makes a good point there in chat. Better to have a delay than to blow up a rocket. So
yeah. And to be honest, like Starship was, because it's funny, it's two philosophies at the same time going parallel, right? Like the Starship is like, move fast, break things, and Sir Peter Beck is the, move, like, I don't want to say he's move slow, but he's like do it well. And then I think the Blue Origin one is the move slow and never get anything done. That's like the whole spectrum. And it's a battle of philosophies. We're going to see who is going to succeed and how.
Among other things, yeah.
Sorry?
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't all just come down to the philosophy. There's,
sure.
other factors, but yeah.
You mean maybe engineering also involved? No.
It might matter a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, cool. We go on to the next one, which I think is a very good news for Q2. So the SDA contract, that's the over $500 million contract that Rocket Lab was awarded in the end of 2024. And they have basically completed a major milestone. The design is locked, and now they are on to mass production. I'm pretty sure that this is going to have financial implications in Q2, because the contract was set up with Scotto. Have you lost something?
Yeah, David didn't like me anymore.
No, okay. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is going to have very good financial implications for Q2. Space System is probably going to do well. But yeah, what do you guys think?
It's good to see. I mean, I assume there's some milestone payments in there, and a good sign. I'd be curious. I haven't really checked the other vendors for Tranche 2 transport layer, because there's a few of them, whether they've locked their design or qualified it. I forget the term, but yeah, whether they're at the same point or not, it would be interesting to see.
How can you follow the vendors if they also lock design, or You just follow the company and their Twitter account, or you have a?
Yeah, I assume. Yeah, I would just follow their accounts. I assume they would announce stuff like that. Who were the other? There was like 3 others. Was it Thales? Anyway, it's escaping me right now.
So I'm going to speculate a little bit. So we know that Flatellite has been somewhat designed off of the requirements of what we've seen from the SDA and many other things as well. So I think this is important because, I mean, it's not going to be verbatim what is delivered for the SDA, right? For Flatellite and the SDA, there will be differences. But I think being able to build this and actually go on to production as opposed to just the design phase really will allow us to truly understand maybe some of the nuances of how to build Flatellite itself, right? And the testing and the design of that as we go forward and hear more about. I think, to me, it's one of the key differences in what makes or could make Rocket Lab a $50 to $75 billion company or a $100 billion plus company is the capability of delivering Flatellite and actually having a meaningful product. And so, it's helpful for me to understand what the true long-term terminal potential in terms of market cap for the company could be, so I can kind of understand what and when I'd be willing to stop buying more shares, right? So if the company is terminally going to be 50 billion, we're a third of the way there, right? And so you might have other opportunities where you could look and potentially put money away to potentially increase your potential and for your capital. But if Flatellite does work and things like this are going to be extremely lucrative and it could push Rocket Lab to be $100 billion plus company, then we're less than a fifth of the way there, right? And so you'd still want to potentially be buying shares. And so going on from the design to the production phase for at least the SDA piece would hopefully have follow-on impacts of Flatellite, but of course that's speculative, and so I'm maybe grabbing at straws there. But it's always good to be able to progress forward and actually start executing. And if that happens, hopefully that means we actually start to realize some good revenue soon.
And this might be speculation as well, but in terms of revenue recognition, there's always those 10% customers, 10% or more of revenue customers that are in the 10Ks or 10Qs. And to make a long story short, there's one that's simply listed as government customer, which very well could be SDA. And if that is the case, we're looking at like 48 million recognized throughout 2024 and another 34 recognized in Q1 of 2025. So of the, I guess, $515 million total, we're already looking at about 82 million that's been recognized. And if it's, well, I mean, I know it'll be like, I think Adam has pretty much explicitly stated it's going to follow a similar trajectory to the MDA recognition. So we're going to see a nice ramp up throughout 2025 through 2026, which would be nice to see.
And another piece as well, I like that where your head is at with that, Scott, is the thing that I always keep gravitating towards is when Adam went to TD Cohen last year. I think it was in the May or June timeframe, and he was talking about how they just had gotten awarded a lot of these SDA opportunities for satellites, but they had yet to figure out who exactly is going to be launching a lot of these to space to actually be able to put up into orbit. And so that, to me, with the confidence that they had to lock the design and move on to production, maybe gives a little bit confidence as to who could actually launch them as well. But of course, we have to get Neutron off the pad first before they can actually get awarded that. But hopefully, fingers crossed, they see the craftsmanship, they see the great quality and execution that these guys have through obviously the design phase as well as going actually into the execution phase, and we'll hopefully be able to continue to build that partnership. And that'll be a large contract, right? We're talking about potentially hundreds of satellites, and so that could be dozens of launches potentially.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. The next one that we go and visit is an interesting one. It's by our very own Dave G. You were on a podcast or Twitter space this week.
Yeah, Jacob invited me, and he was in the chat earlier today, by the way. So I don't know if he's still around, but yeah, thanks, Jacob. And by the way, sorry to interrupt. He did make a good point in that there was a legal battle around some of those SDA transport layer sats, and they are expecting to re-award some of them. They were originally hoping for maybe July 15th. So, I'm not saying Rocket Lab was even bidding or looking for those, but someone may get awarded more SDA sats soon. And there's the Jacob. Yeah. By the way, guys, I do recommend you check out Space Talks Weekly if you have not seen it before.
Yeah, it was. I think I listened to halfway through. I only saw it today first. Ashley Vance was there, and he was answering a lot of questions about his views on the space economy. One thing that stood out to me is that he thinks that we grossly underestimate how many satellites are going to be up in space, and I think he put out a number. He thought that there's no way that people are going to let SpaceX's Starlink going to be the only internet constellation. And he was doing a rough calculation that just with the Starlink competitors, we should have 120 or 150,000 satellites in orbit. And that is a lot of freaking launches if you think about it. But yeah, Dave, did you have any good takeaways from that podcast?
I mean, it was just an interesting conversation. Hear him talk about companies, cultures, like personalities of CEOs, and what he thinks about them. Some interesting backstories. He's not, I don't think, like embedded within any of these space companies right now. So you're not going to get some kind of like smoking gun insider info that there's a secret project on the way or anything like that. But just a fun conversation and interesting stories, and got to ask him his thoughts on Planet and a lot of these companies we know. He's very impressed with Peter's skills as an engineer, and thinks the world of him, and that certainly is good to hear as a Rocket Lab investor.
Yeah.
Dave, did it change your thesis on Planet Labs at all, hearing what he had to say?
That's something I'm trying to wrap my head around, because I had sold out of Planet because, I was expecting a lot of revenue growth on the commercial side from companies making use of their data, searchable Earth, like Bloomberg Terminal for Earth, all this stuff. And it didn't really materialize. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, but are they leaning into defense? And defense is really hot right now. And they've been getting some contracts, like I think it was Germany. They got a $200 some odd million contract. So if they're leaning more into defense, then maybe they get more interesting again to me, if that's something, because obviously there's a lot of spending going on there now. But I still haven't really decided if it's one I want to get back in on yet.
Fair. That's fair.
Cool. Yeah. Then we go on to the next one. I mean, this one is just very interesting. Netflix is taking our jobs, guys. It has been us traditionally, the retail investors who have been streaming all the rocket launches, and it seems like Netflix is going to stream these now. And that obviously is going to bring, one shows that there's a lot of attention from the general public, into the space adventures. But it also is going to create and introduce a lot more people to, Rocket Lab launches, Neutron launches, of course, also SpaceX launches. So I think it's potentially very bullish for, generally the space industry. But yeah, what did you guys think about this one?
I'm curious to see if it's going to just be NASA affiliated stuff, or I think SpaceX just prefers to be on the X platform, but I wonder, will we see relativity on this program, or like Firefly or those kind of things, or like even Rocket Lab? I know that there's 2 NASA affiliated launches. I think they're both in Q1. One's LockSat and the other's Aspera, I think it is. But it'll be interesting to see like just how far they're planning to branch out, and if it's going to be like just the kind of the quality of the affiliates, I guess. What do you guys think?
I think at the end of the day, people might want to watch it on something like Netflix, and there's something to be said that, you know, the production quality may be better than what we're able to provide here on YouTube. But I think YouTube also provides that lens of community that I don't think you'll be able to get on Netflix, right? You can't have people communicating across each other, getting clarification, directly integrating their questions live like we have here. So there's going to be pluses and minuses associated with it. And I am curious as well how far it goes. Is it specifically going to be more so around NASA opportunities, or are they going to expand it beyond? And likely it'll be starting with NASA, but I'm sure it'll expand beyond. But still, to this day, I think there's a reason why, you know, people go to our streams rather than just the Rocket Lab stream, right? They like that community. They want to ask questions. They want to interact with us to an extent, and they want maybe that financial lens on what we're talking about or what's going on, rather than specifically the launch itself. So I can't say that it won't be great. I'm personally going to look at it as well. You know, I'm an enthusiast in space, but people really crave that ability to communicate with folks, and I think that we provide that.
Agreed. Yeah, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys covered most of it. Happy to see it on Netflix. It'd be nice if you open up your Netflix and there's giant big banner of a rocket about to launch, or an astronaut out there doing a spacewalk or something. Just hope, you know, the next generation gets more excited about space and thinks about it, and maybe the next Peter Beck out there decides they want to make their own rocket company or something.
Yeah, actually, speaking on that, my nephew actually expressed interest in rocketry himself, and I said, "Dude, like, if you guys come to Houston, like, well, I'll show you." We took him to Johnson Space Center. You know, I think probably 8 years ago when they came to visit. But I said I'd be more than happy to find a place in Brownsville to rent, and hopefully get around a SpaceX launch or anything, right? Or even if Neutron launches back home. I mean, we have the house in South Jersey. We could just take the ferry over, and it's a couple-hour drive down to Virginia from there. You know, anything that would be able to help inspire the next generation. I agree with you wholly there, Dave.
Hopefully, the next Peter Beck will not want to start a rocket company, but more of a you know, some new space business idea.
Maybe we'll have a breakthrough in propulsion technology, and we won't be talking about rockets. Who knows?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I keep wishing that there was faster than light travel, and I watch all these videos, you know, of like how it's like impossible because of this and that, and I'm always like, I know and I get it, but the kid in me is like, I think somebody's going to figure something out. Yeah. Cool. So this was basically all the Rocket Lab news that I had. Q2 is over, and I'm just really curious, like, you know, how you guys feel about Q2 and what's coming in Q3, because for me, one thing that overshadows a little bit, like, okay, I think that the launch part of Rocket Lab is doing amazing. We had 4 freaking launches in June. And that's a yearly launch cadence of 48 electrons, if you think about it. Like, that's crazy that they managed to do that in a month. Also, this month, they broke the record from one pad, which I believe was like 1 day and 16-hour turnaround from one pad. We got 5 launches this quarter, which I believe means that we will do better than guidance on the launch side of life, and on the space services or space system. Sorry, they completed this design. I'm sure that's a milestone, and from all indications, it looks like that part of the company is also firing from all rocket chambers. The only thing that for me is like a little bit of a like a black light is the Neutron being delayed, but it is what it is. I don't think on the long term it's a very big issue. But yeah, I want to hear, like, how do you guys feel this quarter went? What's your expectations for earnings? Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
I can start.
Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
I feel like I kind of say the same thing every quarter. Like, it's not going to be some suddenly they're profitable, like even in like kind of in on any metric, right? I think that what a lot of people are looking for are either new contracts, kind of especially with space systems, and Neutron kind of guidance, or even just like a rough estimate, or even just a sense of confidence for when we're going to launch this year. I think we've already had, 4 Electrons signed within Q2, and I'm hoping to see a lot more. Like I think it was on 2 weeks ago where I was talking about Black Skies. They're going to be kind of out of launch. Like I think Rocket Lab's going to be kind of done their current contract at the rate that Black Skies setting them up. They'll be done in like Q3, I bet. So it wouldn't surprise me. Well, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if we do see another batch of launches with Black Sky, for example. Hopefully signed sooner than later as well, because like I said, I mean, Black Sky is kind of grounded as of Q4, assuming all goes to their plan, which it seems to be pretty much on schedule, if not ahead of schedule. So that's kind of what I'm looking towards. And then of course, I'm just I'll be zooming in on that government customer, trying to make sense if that is SDA or who exactly that could be. When I first saw the mention of the 2024 customer being government, I was like, oh, maybe that's our reaction wheel customer. But I think it was Jacob pointed out, like, actually that might be SDA instead, which does make a lot of sense. So I'll be double clicking on that, and just looking for new contracts and whatnot. What about you guys?
I was just, impressed by the launch cadence and all those milestones you talked about, turning around the launch complex so quickly. And I think it all really goes to show that the capability is there for Electron and a very high cadence. Obviously, it's a matter of customers being there and customers being ready, which does seem to be growing. But I think, 10 launches first half of the year, obviously a bit more than that, but I think we're looking good for 20 plus launches when you consider like back half of the year is often pretty busy. And as you guys said, I'd love to see some more contracts for space systems or something big coming. It's always nice seeing Electron contract here and there, but now we're like in the league where we're looking for like multi-$100 million contracts. So other than that, not to bring up something that I guess will be causing arguments, but I did just see apparently Elon Musk announced he's forming the America Party. So honestly, I think this is very bearish for SpaceX. Like, we were talking about him maybe refocusing on SpaceX and getting back to his companies. If he's starting a new party, like, is he diving deeper into politics? And like, but anyway, maybe
I think it's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't want to go down but like, to me, how do I say this? I'm okay with foreigners getting involved in politics, but to try to form their own party as a non-U.S. citizen is kind of like a head scratcher to me.
He is a U.S. citizen.
Is he?
Yeah, 110% since many years.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so.
Maybe I'm just confused. Maybe
he can't run for president because he was.
That's what I'm confusing it with. Yeah, because he wasn't American born. Yeah, that's what.
That's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger situation, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you guys? I haven't followed this big, beautiful bill so closely. I heard some speculation that it could have some tax perks for Rocket Lab when you talk about developing like cutting edge stuff and defense stuff, but I don't know a lot of details on that. Have you seen anything that might be impactful in there?
From a tax perspective, I have seen some things with respect to like Section 179A and bonus depreciation. So if you invest, you might be able to get tax breaks associated with investments faster than what you might have been able to have previously. So how that actually, I've only been looking at it from like a real estate perspective, but from what it looks like, it's more all commercial sort of buildings and stuff like that. So not just buildings, but also equipment and things that help sustain your properties and in your businesses as well. So like I stated, I only look at it because I've always been trying to do that with my Airbnbs and see if I can get some of that bonus depreciation up front and write off a big chunk and get it like a nice tax bump. In the positive side for once, I always end up owing more. But that's a different story for a different day. But that, and I'm trying to think other than that, if there was anything else. I did see a standard deduction for U.S. citizens went up by about $2,000 to $3,000. So it was $12,500. Now it's about $15,000. And we'll hopefully, I think, as stated, be able to keep up with inflation. So maybe it will go up 2 to 3% per annum.
Mars Telecommunication Orbiter, obviously that's nice. I would be almost certain Rocket Lab would be bidding on that.
Yeah. I mean, back to what you were saying, like what we think about this Musk situation and forming his party. It's like, who had it in their bingo card? Like what you said, if we would go back to, the 2024 Dave or the 2021 Dave, and you're like, Elon Musk is going to not just piss off the Democrats, but also the Republicans, and all at the same time. I'm like, that's like a very interesting. I definitely didn't have that on my bingo card, but he did tweet that he thinks that the best way that they could succeed is they laser focus on a few seats, which would mean that those seats are the deciding factor on the. It's like, so if the party is not winning, they're still the deciding factor. And this I've seen in Sweden, where you have like a lot of multi-party systems, and it's kind of weird because you can have like the biggest party, but they have 48%, and then they have to team up with another party that is like 3%, but then without the 3% party, they don't have the 51%. And then the 3% party gets to like 50%. They, get to have their, budgets and plans go through, despite they're only 3% of the popular vote, because otherwise the system doesn't work. And if he does manage that, I think that then it's not so bad for his government contracts, but I think that's many, many years and elections away if he even succeeds. And until then, I think like both Republicans and Democrats are going to try to weaken him and take away government money and take away government contracts. So I think it's super bullish for Rocket Lab.
Yeah, I mean, I really just wonder, like, there's a lot of stuff that always goes on with people making sure that they get space jobs in their district, in their state, whether it's Republicans or Democrats or whatever. And if he's now with some third party, then I don't know. It just seems like a strategic.
Some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with respect to what I think in terms of the second quarter, I think it's been great. The cadence has also been fun. Mopbox inspired me on one of his posts. He might even posted a graphic. So if you share my screen briefly for a moment, Mr. Rax, then
here you
go. There's two graphics that I want to share.
My computer is acting up again.
You have to unshare what you're sharing and share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm acting up. Sorry.
No, you're good. So this has been fun to kind of watch. So I posted this on X, and A lot of people like seeing this. So this is basically the trailing 12 months. So Mottbox kind of mentioned, okay, after now we're up to kind of 18 launches in the trailing 12 months. So I set up my spreadsheet to now be able to calculate this, which is fun. Actually pretty simple formula to be able to go and do. And so you can kind of see you can see that underlying trend in there. We're always, generally speaking, going up and to the right, but there are some times where you have some periodic, more launches, less launches. So it seems like right now we're probably in a space where we're expanding the amount of launches we're having. Wouldn't be surprised if there's a slight plateau or pullback over the next quarter or so, but at least now we're kind of at 18, and hopefully we can sustain that 18 for the next 6 months or so. But this has been kind of cool to be able to keep track of the 60 some launches to date. And then if I go to the graphic above, this one I thought was kind of cool as well, because it kind of shows how the average over time. So I might need to relabel this title here. But this shows like since day one, right? How many launches have there been since the first time we launched? So it's an average of that time period. So now we've broken the barrier of basically getting below 40. So we're always going to be heading, unless there's a drastic change in the cadence, right? We're always going to be heading closer and closer to some sort of asymptote, which I would hopefully be 7 days or so. So this, coupled with the about 17, 18 days turnaround that we're kind of experiencing at the moment, is kind of cool. But like I said, this is kind of a useless metric, but it's fun to kind of look at, right? We can kind of see how initially, we were over 100 days average per launch, and now we're starting to climb to all the launches that have ever happened, which is the 60 some, and about the 3,000 days that we've been launching. Getting close to below 40 at this point, and hopefully in the next 10 years we can get it closer and closer to that asymptote, which I anticipate will be closer to 7 or 14 on average.
Awesome. Thank you for these awesome charts. Cool. Scotto, everyone spoke about the Q2, right? Yeah. All right. Then I think this is basically a good point to end. I had one last article here that was about the space industry that was from Peter Berger.
Eric
Berger. I don't know why I said Peter. I'm also tired over here. So the second launch of New Glenn will aim for Mars. New Glenn went from being planned 8 launches this year to, it looks like only there's one more launch, so 2 launches this year. Space is hard. I don't know if you guys have any opinions about this or anything worth mentioning. I mean, obviously them slowing down is sort of bullish for Rocket Lab, because it means that whatever backlog they have, it takes them longer to deliver, and then they cannot take on new contracts. And I believe that this will be a Rocket Lab payload that they will deliver to Mars.
Not confirmed, but yes, that's the hope. It was supposed to be on the first one, but I think it also depends on the trajectory, right? Because the Escapade is supposed to be going towards Mars, right? And so you kind of need to launch it at the appropriate time. And is August 2025 the appropriate time? I don't know the answer to that, but I think overall for Blue Origin, kudos to them. 2 launches within 8 months of each other is really awesome. So hopefully they're able to get it off in August, but that shows that they're doing really well. And it seems like the FAA and them concluded that they will be able to try again for the reentry burn and landing. For those that didn't hear, they basically assumed, or got to the point where they assumed technically, or whatever they decided, that the engines didn't restart on the first stage for them to land on the barge, and that's why it didn't necessarily have the opportunity to slow down and be able to control itself and land appropriately. So hopefully, fingers crossed that they'll be able to try it out, because if that happens, it's just better competition, and better competition, I think, drives innovation and will continue to be good. But yeah, excited to see, and I'll be watching for sure, streaming if I can.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, one interesting thing Ashley Vance said in our discussion was like he thought Blue Origin was getting interesting again, and seemed like they're kind of turning the corner with new management and stuff like that. So remains to be seen. I never thought that number of launches for the year was going to happen, but you know, I'd love to see Escapade launch this year.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think it's a good point to end here. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Congratulations again, Scotto, for delivering the payload.
It's all my way.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you, everyone, for being here, and hopefully see everyone next week. Yeah, with a working camera and a new computer. Yeah.
Thanks
all.
all.
Right. Yeah, ciao, ciao.
See it.